Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the review right here on NoDQ.com. And this is number 183. And I am Virtue, the moderator for the evening, of course. And this week's panel consists of Aaron Riff, Robbie Weiss is back.
Hi.
Walter or Gunther Cruz. I don't know if I'm going to change his name or not. And, of course, Jerry Slaughter. What's up, guys? Walter, what's up? You haven't been on for a few months. What's going on, man? How do you like that WWE 2K game that I got for you?
I'm loving it right now.
Tell the NoDQ Galaxy Virtue got you the WWE game.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, Virtue did get it. I put it all over Twitter, PS5.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
If it's word, nothing much. Happy to steal Rob's tag. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be on here. Be human.
That's
be
not
alive.
my tag. That's Big G's.
The only problem.
Not be a bot.
I see how you get the two confused.
There's a huge problem when you're on the show, though.
What?
The super chats. You're a faithful super chatter. And when you're on the show, it costs Aaron Riff money. So I'm just pointing that out. Jerry, what's going on, man?
He'll survive.
Nothing. Actually, got myself an extra day off and saw there was an opening. I was like, sweet, I want to be on. So it's been a while since I got to talk some wrestling, so I'm anxious to do so.
Well, that we will do. And, of course, Robbie Weiss.
I'm like the opposite of Big G. I am not happy to be here. No.
I did ask you, and you could have said no.
Right.
So,
surprisingly, I've been pretty into what WWE is doing lately. Some stuff happened we can chat about. I know it's shocking, right? And this may also shock you, but there were things in AEW that I thought were awful, like really bad. So
that doesn't shock me.
Yeah,
well, we might disagree on something. I think though we'll have to. I want to see what you're going to talk about later.
Okay.
Right, and Aaron, what's up?
Doing pretty good. It's been an interesting week. AEW had a very noteworthy show and an ending that got people talking. And I have to say, I liked the ending of AEW Dynamite. Virtue, I kind of feel like you now. I feel like the more people hate on it, the more I like it. So we'll
talk about that because, I want to know what they hate. It's because it's a work rate, not a work rate wrestle. We'll talk about that. But are you guys ready to start?
Walter Cruz said that it's That's
so don't let that stop you. If you have a question, you're on the panel. Never mind.
I was going to make the suggestion. He still do super chats throughout the thing.
Well, how about this? How about we let Walter decide who goes first for the first topic?
Okay, so Walter, that means when I bring up the topic, you decide who talks about it first.
Okay.
That's your perk.
That works. Well, let's start off. Let's do a hot opener here. Let's talk about the WWE Tag Team division. Now, the Usos are the Smackdown Tag Team Champions. RK Bro, still together, are the Raw Tag Team Champions. Now, we know Roman Reigns is the unified of all things wrestling champion right now until they figure out what they're going to do with the belts. But he's holding 2 championship titles. Not belt, Cody Rhodes, title or championship. The Usos have belts, but are they going to have 4 now? As the Bloodline going to get all these titles for that visual? And I honestly have to say I think they are. So, Walter, who should talk first on if the Usos should add more gold to the Bloodline?
Let's shoot it over to Jerry.
Of course, Jerry. It's because I'm white. I'm actually cool with the titles being unified and the Usos having them. It just makes sense since the Bloodline's supposed to control any and all aspects of the WWE at this point. That and there's not really much of a tag division for them to face off in anymore. You have maybe 4 tag teams that could be combat for the belts, and they're just getting shuffled in, shuffled out, and makeshifted. And it just seems kind of a waste to have 2 separate titles, so might as well just unify them.
Now, do you think that if this happens that they'll split down the road again, the titles, or is this a sign of things to come, or maybe they'll condense the championships?
In order for that to really occur, I would think that they'd have to like somehow deepen the tag team roster. And this Vince McMahon is notorious for hating tag team wrestling. So why not, like, might as well just keep them together and not even worry about it. Just make it a WWE tag team title and just for both brands, if the brand split even sticks around much longer.
Now, Walter, what do you think here?
I'm for it. I mean, I think you should unify all the titles, the IC, the US. You might as well get rid of the mid cards and unify everything. If you want the Bloodline to be a dominant faction, you got to give them all the titles and prove that there's only one, that they are the ones. And I wouldn't do it. I would do it more on Money in the Bank, since Money in the Bank already has ladder matches. I would do a unification ladder match with all the titles.
Now, you know what I honestly think? Like, I'm all fine. It's all fine and dandy for the tag titles. But, like, if you want to add more titles, more championships to that group, why not, like, have the Usos also do singles matches, specifically Jay, and have him win, like, the Intercontinental Championship?
That'd be cool.
Right? And
Yeah, that'd be
now
cool.
you're building up someone that down the road, if it's time to split up the Bloodline, maybe Jay turns on Roman. Like, I mean, so if you're going to go that route of unifying the tag titles, which they might not even do, why not have them win some singles titles that are just rotting away? At least in the Bloodline, the Intercontinental title is going to be featured and shown, probably be put on the line on some Smackdowns while Roman watches and sits there with his arms folded. You know what I mean?
That'd definitely be interesting, especially since Jay was such monster push for a while there against Roman Reigns, and for at some point for him just to have a singles belt, and for Roman Reigns not to have a singles belt down the line. That's
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
When
that would
Roman
make for an interesting story.
When he said he wasn't satisfied, I was like have Jay fight for the Intercontinental title. What do you think, Robbie?
Yeah, I say put all the gold on the Bloodline at this point. I think give them both tag titles, give them the US and IC title, and all will hold two belts. I mean, you might as well.
You might as well add the younger brother and get him an NXT title too.
Paul Heyman, 24/7 champion.
I mean, I think getting the younger brother the NXT championship would go a long way for that. I think that's actually a great idea. I think anything to get the title off of RK Bro is for the best. I think that needs to end. I don't like the pairing of Randy Orton and Riddle because I don't like Matt Riddle. I don't like I dislike a lot of things about him as a character. So I'm actually all for what inevitably will happen, and call me whatever you want, but that he's going to turn on Randy Orton. He's going to go heel on Randy Orton, and then he's going to have a character change. That's
what I want. I don't want.
And I think he'll do better for it, because I think this goofy stoner, dumb flip flop pigeon flying out of his whatever. Like I'm just not a fan of it. But I think Matt Riddle has
it though, man. The kids they love Matt Riddle,
and that's fine. And that's fine. And that's what he's there for. I'm not the target audience for that. I think Matt Riddle sucks. But, there's a lot of kids that are going to buy his merch that are going to come cheer for him. And he's going to make a lot of money. And that's great. That's good for him. I think he sucks.
And also, Orton's at that age where he's a legend. People are not going to boo him as easily anymore. He's made it to that point where people are going to cheer everything you do. So you might as well keep him as the face and let Riddle go. Do something different.
I mean, he's the best all-around wrestler in the world right now.
That would put Riddle towards the main event spot at this point if he goes heel, and actually
he still has to do mid card. He still has to do well in the mid card before he'll be seen as a real main eventer. Those people that just jump right into the main event title picture end up getting looked at like Jinder Mahal. If they push Riddle just to the title picture immediately, people aren't going to buy it. But if he starts getting dominant and starts doing whatever. Wins a mid-card title, holds it for a while, and then he starts challenging for the title. I just think that's a more believable path.
Now, have we seen Randy Orton versus Tribal Chief Roman Reigns yet in a title match?
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
We haven't.
I don't think so.
Yeah, all the more reason to turn Riddle heel, have Orton go face, and maybe have Orton go up against Randy.
If anybody were to take the belt off Roman Reigns anytime soon, it would be a face Orton.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not taking the belts off of him till WrestleMania next year.
Pretty much.
Well, we're going to
talk. He's one of the few believable guys that could challenge Reigns at this point.
Orton's like what, four reigns away from Cena?
He'll never get that.
And
He'll never get close. I like if Randy Orton gets another title reign, it's going to be one more maybe. But he doesn't need it at
15? If he wins, what is that? 15, 14?
It's like 12 or 13, I think.
Oh.
That's a question for the trivia guys.
Yeah. That's wrestling history. All right, what do you think, Aaron, here? Uso's going to have some more gold. They got gold on their teeth, don't they?
They do. We got a few super chats here. We'll get to this one first. It's a little off topic. Well, not really. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Says, Robbie, do you love Roman Reigns like Virtue does?
I think Roman is probably in the top 2 in the business right now. I think he's the best heel in the business. And then I think right now Cody Rhodes is the best face in the business, just based on reaction and merchandise sales and buzz. But I think Roman and Cody are kind of in a league of their own right now. Do I love him as much as Virtue? Probably not. But I like him. I think he's great.
You know what I love about him? That the fans wanted him to go away when Vince pushed him. They did everything they could, and look where he is now, just like Virtue said.
I mean, I did not like Roman in his last iteration, and I said that I would enjoy him in a more serious, less cartoony role, and that's exactly what he did, and I'm all on board. But yeah.
By the way, Orton's at 14, so one more will give him 15.
I mean, the only person that they're ever going to let beat that is going to be John Cena, I think, and that'll be the last one because Triple H is done. Orton's not; they're not going to give him that many runs, and Cena just needs one, and that's going to be a huge WrestleMania payoff.
Charlotte's going to beat it with the female version. Charlotte's definitely beating
it. That belt is also 9 years old at this point, so no one cares.
More super chats, Aaron?
Yeah, let's get to this one from Building Nexus. He sent in $5. He says, if WWE wants to do Orton versus Cody, then Orton has to turn. Yeah, because we know Cody's not going heel. He is loving the babyface role. He left a place where he was getting booed out of the buildings. But I feel like Randy Orton challenging Roman Reigns is a big match that we haven't seen yet, as far as Reigns, the tribal chief, going against Randy Orton. And one day I could definitely see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, just down
the roads.
Yeah, down the roads. Exactly. I could see that happening at some point.
The smart thing they're doing with Cody is they're not overexposing that entrance, that elevated entrance. I saw that he didn't use it on Raw, so maybe they're just saving it for the premium live events, which is a good thing. That's smart.
Maybe they just thought it looked bad the night after WrestleMania when his head was just popping up from the bottom of the screen.
I am the disembodied head of Cody Rhodes.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, why not have the Usos also win the IC and US belts, which is something we did touch upon. I think I would prefer to see Solo Sikoa come in and win those belts. Like, unify them now and then bring in Solo and have Solo win that title and let him be the champion. I would love that. Roman Reigns, unified world champion. Solo Sikoa, the unified mid-card champion. And then the Usos, the unified tag team champion.
I mean, they did it with Evolution. Didn't they have all the titles in one night during the pay-per-view back then, but they won all the titles.
Yeah. I would love to see. I think that would be my personal preference. Just because I think if the Usos are winning the singles belts as well, it's just going to be a bit too much. Are they going to have to wrestle twice each a night? Like, it seems a little
3
bit
times.
I'll say if they had some sort of general manager for SmackDown or SmackDown or Raw that was like, a face type general manager, I can see them being put in those kind of situations and have to do title defense after title defense. But since there's no authority figures in WWE,
thank God.
I just think that the Bloodline should definitely get all the titles at some point and merge the championships. I still am not confident, though, that it's going to last. I feel like Orton might win the title from Reigns. Maybe Cody does. But I feel like Reigns is going to drop that WWE title at some point to somebody on Raw, and then he'll continue to be the Universal Champion until WrestleMania 39, and we'll talk about the possibilities of that here in just a few minutes. Now, we do have a few more super chats to
Time out. Mr. Tito, you don't watch wrestling anymore. He just said the Usos are tag teams for life, and why are we begging for? Did you not see what before Jimmy came back when he was out? The work that Jey Uso did with Roman before the Bloodline was created was exactly what you always said. Push a mid-card guy against the main eventer and make them feel like something. But you don't watch wrestling, so you wouldn't know that happened. You're an idiot.
Main event Jey.
Jey Uso could totally. He already proved it on TV.
He turned him into main event
He
Jey.
could be a singles wrestler, but because WWE's packaged them for a long time as the Usos, just like the New Day or the New Day, they're stuck in that mold. Yes, but Jey has proven that he could be a solid mid-card singles wrestler, which is all we were really basically asking for here.
Right.
Begging.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, I thought fans wanted Roman turn heel, not go away. Who wants Roman to go away other than Mo Camera?
I
think he's referring to earlier that he said that it got to the point where we wanted Roman to go away because he was in our face all the time.
I don't want Roman to go away.
None of us. I think he's talking about before. When
Nobody ever did. Nobody ever wanted him to go away. They loved booing him before.
Yeah.
He's always been entertaining. Like either we like talking trash about him or we enjoyed the work he was doing in the ring. Either way, he's always been noteworthy.
All right, let's see. Dwayne Atkinson sent in $2. Thank you, Dwayne. He says, then Naomi needs to join and win both women's belts. I'd be fine with it happening, but I think we're past that now. I said this on the predictions video. I do not think they're ever going to go in that direction.
Theoretically, she's already women's tag champ, so
yeah.
Theoretically, she can go in now, with the tag title. But all that money they spent on all the glowing and the outfits, they're not going to let her go heel and go right now.
Fortunately, I think if it was going to happen, it would have by now. So let's just drop it. It ain't
unless Sasha turns on her. Or she turns on Sasha. That would be the only way they can recognize.
Yeah, they would need to drop the belts, and hopefully Bayley's back to help do that.
Yeah, maybe they could somehow work that into a storyline. But I'm not expecting it to happen. It would be nice though. Let's see. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says Reigns also changed up his look, which helped a lot. He fixed his crooked teeth and gained some muscle because his arms were pretty skinny.
He turned into almost like a tanned edge for a little bit there.
He took off his vest. That's what everybody was. We were tired of that tactical uniform. He took off his vest and became a whole new person.
Yeah, and I mean, he is the head of the table now. He's got the look, the movie star look to go along with that main event presence. Now, Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, will we see Roman Reigns versus Lashley in the near future? I think so. That's one of the few matches left for Roman. He doesn't have a lot of opponents to get him through the next year. He's got Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. I think those four are the main four you're going to see over the next year or so.
To me, that doesn't even make sense right now. In the kayfabe world, Lashley got hurt by Lesnar. Go after Lesnar. Shouldn't you be pissed off that he? But shouldn't you be pissed off he hurt your shoulder? Use him as a step.
Why would he?
If I had to choose between revenge or money, I'm probably going to go with money.
You already beat Brock Lesnar,
but that revenge will lead to more money.
Yeah, I guess.
Or jail,
or an injury and put you right back out of wrestling.
Oh,
why would anyone want to pursue Brock Lesnar? I don't
exactly.
I don't really see the logic in that. If you're looking at it from a kayfabe standpoint, and you're like, I'm going to go after someone, you're like, well, Lesnar doesn't have the title. Maybe I'll go piss this guy off and punch him. I don't think it's
prove you're a badass. Who do you gotta have to go after? The most badass person there is.
Or do you just make a statement on the smallest guy on the show?
Right,
dude, that's build a ton of stars.
Well, we'll move on here, and we'll talk more about Roman Reigns, I'm sure, before the show is over, based on the graphic. How about the 1980s? Though Vince McMahon always wants to make sure the 1980s and even earlier, with those angry foreigners that just want to destroy the United States, because Gunther, however you want to pronounce it, formerly known as Walter, debuted on Smackdown with, it looks like they might be a tag team, who knows, with Marcel Barthel. Yeah, well, it's a couple Austrians, Germans, whatever, but let's go with the angry foreigners coming here to dominate. And it's something we always see. You know, Vince McMahon pushed Jinder Mahal to the WWE Championship. So here's Gunther. Gunther Cruz. What do you think?
I think he's good. He put work into his character. He lost the weight. You knew he was going to the main roster and be something when he lost that weight. Like, because, you know, Vince likes his big guys, nice, slim, and muscular tone. So I just don't like the name change, obviously. But other than that, we'll get used to it and we'll be over it. And I just don't know why Walter's not marketable. That name is already German. It means leader of a soldier. Or, sorry, leader of an army in German. That's what the name Walter means. So you might as well have kept him with that name. But,
well, you know, and yeah, it's just, there's always going to be some, just like when we lose like the Undertaker and there's no dark character. Edge now is dark with Damian Priest. Vince McMahon always has his template of things that he needs on his TV. Robbie, what do you think here?
I think it's one of my least favorite tropes in wrestling is just the angry, non-English speaking, screaming heel that just like rants and runs around. Like when Veer came, he just like threw his arms and like roared like a lion and did stuff. But like he was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I've seen him in games. So like I know I don't know. It's really hard to get into characters like that. I don't really like it. I think it's old and tired, and it wasn't funny 20 years ago. It's not entertaining anymore.
Well, Khan did that. Indian guy Khan signed his from the NBA.
I wish we had a Russian character that was pro-Russian Putin. Like that would be awesome. I love it. I love people saying that's offensive. That's great. I love when WWE does this. I love the heel foreigner gimmick, and I wish honestly they would reach over and grab some of these marks from the front row and beat them up. But they'd have to be planted marks.
I mean, it's not that it's offensive. I just think it's just so unoriginal at this point. Like we've seen it over and over. You know what I mean?
But we've seen everything in wrestling over and over.
Right, but I think there's a better way to do it. Like they did it okay with Umaga, you know, but I don't know. They don't stick with it long enough for it to actually make an impact, right? Like these guys will be super dominant for like 3 weeks. They'll go undefeated. They'll beat everybody up. It'll take like 100 finishers to put them down. And then 2 weeks after that, they'll be chasing the 24/7 title. So like, I don't know. I don't trust the writers to do that kind of character.
It works though. If you look at the 90s, it worked. I mean, how many people hated Sergeant Slaughter when he became an Iraqi sympathizer? Is that what they called it? They threw things at him. They hated him. There was death threats. I mean, Vince knows what to pull triggers.
The LA Coliseum to the sports arena.
But that was because Hogan wasn't selling tickets like he used to, though. Isn't that kind of the rumor? I don't think it was because of death threats. Jerry, what do you think here?
I think in the long run, the whole Gunther name change only helps out Walter. Because especially if for some reason they don't find something for him to do in the WWE, the name Walter is still protected. The name Marcel Barthel is still protected. And they could use him back in the ring comp and overseas or anywhere else on the independent scene. But I think now that we're actually getting him with a Ludwig, as Marcel's being called at this point. I'm hoping they don't go the whole like stupid Americans route. I hope they just stick with their whole the ring is sacred angle, because it would almost feel like a Blackpool Fight Club, but they're in the WWE versus over in AEW.
And you know, it's good to see him on SmackDown, like on the main.
Oh yeah, it's not well earned.
You know, the thing is, wrestling fans want to see their wrestlers not get released, get pushed. And they get mad when their names change. But do you realize that when they're like where they're at now, where Walter is now as Gunther, he's making more money than he was before. I thought that's what the fans wanted because they're behind the curtain. They want to give him a good old pat on the back. Good for you to support your family. You know, but anyway, Aaron, what do you think here? We'll move on.
I don't really have a problem with the name changes. I mostly care about how these guys are utilized on Raw and SmackDown. And yeah, I get the criticism about the stereotypical foreigner, but maybe it'll work out for him. I just look at Rusev, and yeah, Rusev did end up becoming a comedy character, but he also had a pretty decent run there for a couple of years, and There was a comment from City by the Bay about Rusev with the tank. I was also at that WrestleMania. That was a pretty cool moment for him. He got to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania. If Walter, Gunther, if he gets to have a big WrestleMania match against a top WWE star, good for him. I'm happy for the guy. I hope he has a pretty decent run in WWE.
He's going to. The guy's insanely talented. A name isn't going to stop people from buying this guy's merchandise or watching his matches. He knows what he's doing. He's
but that echo chamber of wrestling fan will make a big deal out of it because they're not happy.
All I ask is to stick with it. Give it some time. Don't just give up on it 3 months down the line. Like, this isn't working. And then take the rug from under him. Give him some time.
Exactly.
If they turn into Vladimir Kozlov, I'm going to be so pissed.
Here's the thing, though.
Hey, guys,
wait a second. But like, does it have to really be like? I think that's one of the biggest problems in the wrestling fandom right now. Is like, if it's not exactly how we want it to be in our head, then we instantly shit on it. And the first person to start shitting on it, everyone else hears that, and then they just start repeating it over and over and over. Like, I'm definitely one that's negative about things, but like, we really need to like watch things play out. And if you're going into something with this mindset already, like, if it's not like this way or they go this route, I'm going to instantly hate it. Like, I don't know. I think we're just snap judgments. And I've done it a ton in the past, and I still do. But I just think, I think that's one of the biggest problems in the fandom right now.
And I think it's just because of what happened with Keith Lee and Karrion Kross that people are worried that same thing's going to happen with Gunther, that he's just going to quickly fizzle out. But we'll see.
No, because Gunther's talented.
Yeah, fans are impatient. That's the problem. Fans are impatient.
Keith Lee wouldn't lose weight. Karrion Kross apparently had backstage issues.
Keith Lee said that's not true, that report.
Well, judging the eye test, I would say that is true. I mean...
we're going to be talking about AEW debuts and how Tony Khan's been doing. Aaron, before we move on from this topic, was there any super chats that came in?
Yeah. I mean, Virtue, what do you think? Do you think it's legit, that story? Because it came from Dave Meltzer, apparently.
Listen, I don't believe anything that a dirt sheet says based on a mole. Who, if moles do leak information, it's agendas. Sometimes they're right news, sometimes they're wrong. And wrestlers, a wrestler could tell you right to your face, wrestlers are trained to be workers. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it unless I was backstage. I either see it play out on TV or I'm backstage and I'm part of the creative. And I know that I'm not going to ever believe anything from wrestlers or dirt sheets until it actually plays out.
Yeah, because you never know when you're being worked.
Yeah. And again, there are people that's the gospel and everything they hear, that's how it's supposed to happen or that's how it was going to happen. And any other person's opinion, nope, you're wrong. And that's the dirt sheets created the wrestling wars of the fans, the separations. You know what I mean? I don't know. We got to move on. We can't talk about Meltzer any longer. Come on.
All right. Well, we'll get back to the main topic here. Shanti sent in a $2 super chat. Says, I'm watching in the beginning, but Heyman for 24/7.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Like,
that would really be. Bloodline would have every title. That would be something else.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
It's already a comedy belt, and Paul Heyman can show that he can do a promo on anybody. So for him to have a 24/7 title would be awesome.
He could grovel and give it to Reigns. Yeah, I brought this for you, my tribal chief.
I mean, if Byron had it, why not?
Yeah, and who's gonna try to beat Heyman for that when he's got Roman Reigns and the Usos by
Brock?
That actually would be a good thing that'll stop.
He could retire the title.
Yeah,
I would love that.
All the crap would stop because nobody would dare go anywhere near Roman Reigns.
See Lesnar chasing Heyman for that title.
Lesnar would, and would give
that'd be hilarious.
Heyman needs to win it, and then have it melted down into like a ring or a necklace for Roman to wear, and then there's no more 24/7 title.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
here you go, my tribal chief. But
the green and gold chain he just wears around his neck.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Ludwig Kaiser versus Ludwig Koopa. Winner gets to keep his name. Somebody should book that for WWE 2K22. Make a Ludwig Koopa CAW and have them do a match.
I brought that up off camera. When I hear Ludwig, that's all I think of is one of Bowser's kids.
Right. Maybe they could bring in more guys. If they ever call up Fabian Eichner, they can have him named after one of the Koopalings. Psychojet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, better rival for Virtue, Mr. Tito or Mo Camera? Now, Virtue, Tito said in the chat he's the better rival because he beat you twice in debates.
Well, yeah, but you declared me the debate champion, and the only person, the only way Tito thinks he beat me were his minions saying he beat me. That's subjective opinion. So,
I mean,
well, so there's controversy around your win with Tito. You'll at least go that far.
Well, I'm waiting to do another one. I've been waiting forever.
Well, my thing
you were on
is-
a video where I said,
My
"Let's do
thing,
this."
yeah, but my thing is there's controversy around yours. I'm still undisputedly undefeated in the debate forum. So,
Well, yeah, you and I are supposed to go at it. We know
will.
this. Me and
Yeah.
Colin Andrew. I got people lined up. We're going to
Yeah.
get them going again soon. Absolutely.
we could do them at Colin's house and make him feed us.
Are we caught up here? Next topic, Ronda Rousey. Something's off with this run with her. Obviously, she had a kid, and you could tell she's a little. And she wasn't a trained like Becky came back. She's pretty flawless, but she was a trained wrestler for years. Ronda moved from UFC, from MMA to wrestling, and I think for her to be off and then to come right back into the thick of it with people like Charlotte, you know. Having a kid, it slowed her down. You can tell she's just not quite herself, and she is still nervous as heck on that mic. And I just think that, and I like her because I like what she brings is that celebrity athlete coming in, and people don't, she should be a heel, but against Charlotte, that was hard to do. She's just not comfortable, and I'm noticing it. And I'm a little underwhelmed with this run. I don't think it's her fault. I think WWE needs to have the right agents with her, book her the right way. What does everybody else think? Jerry Slaughter.
Well, first off, I'm going to take my stand that I hate Ronda Rousey. I've just never been a fan of hers. But I think if they're going to improve her in any way, they need a good mouthpiece for her because she's not good at promos, but she needs somebody that she could follow suit with. Paul Heyman would be perfect if he weren't already involved with the Bloodline. Like, he'd be the person to hype up Ronda Rousey like crazy. And to hear him sit and scream her name, to introduce her would be cool. Only other person I could think of that's employed by WWE at this point that could actually champion her and make her sound legit and make her sound threatening and just have her so she could actually wrestle and not worry about the whole promo aspect would be Malcolm Bivens over in NXT. The guy manages Diamond Mine. The guy's got a good head on his shoulder for a good promo, and that'd be really cool way to bring in Diamond Mine and also say you ever need us, we got your back. And then sure enough, you have a whole faction right there. You have her with some somebody that could actually speak for her and that she could also learn a lot from. She's already got the technical aspect down. But the fact that she's being hampered so hard by the promo aspect makes it really hard for me to take her seriously as a sports entertainer and not just an athlete.
Yeah, and back in the day, they would find people like the Usos and the Jim Rosses. They would see if people were uncomfortable, and they would get them to be presented the right way. And WWE just doesn't have those people, or at least they don't speak up because they're afraid, like Vince McMahon and the bosses Pritchard and whoever would say, no, this is what we're going to do. So that's the problem. Nobody's speaking up. Hey, Ronda's not comfortable out there. How do we get her into the right place? Walter, what do you think?
I think the problem, Ronda's in her own head, and it's very visible. She lets the fans get to her when the fans are booing, or it's like you can see it on her face. And it happens since the UFC. It's like she hasn't been the same since she lost to Amanda Nunes in the UFC. Or after she lost both her fights, she completely changed her demeanor. She was depressed. She didn't know what it was like to lose. She didn't know how to take it. And I feel like it's coming off on her WWE career. But she needs a mouthpiece. She needs to maybe do an MMA faction. Her, Riddle, Lesnar need to get together, just kick ass. No talking, have an MMA faction. Can you imagine Brock Lesnar leading some kind of MMA faction like that?
Well, that
Ronda,
was the rumor
Riddle, Brock. If you do that, who the hell's going to beat them?
That's true.
No talking necessary.
And she's she speaks too fast. She wants to get it out. She wants to get it over with. That's the problem. She's just not comfortable doing that. And again, being paired against Charlotte as and you're supposed to be the baby face. and people just don't like you, that's just bad booking on WWE. So I give her the benefit of the doubt for getting thrown out there, not being in the wrestling bubble and knowing how to handle fans and this and that. Robbie, what do you think here?
I think you guys are all insane. I think all of you guys are crazy.
For what?
I don't think she needs a mouthpiece or a faction. I don't think she needs anything like that. They said the same thing that Roman Reigns needed to have a mouthpiece. They said that he couldn't cut a promo. He couldn't do this stuff.
Have you seen her though?
I have.
It's been ugly
because they're giving her a bunch of lines that she has to memorize and try to regurgitate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if she came out there a little bit more serious, she could be like Smiley Happy, but in the ring, be serious, beat someone's ass, be intense. And if she just has to get on the mic for a couple seconds, be like, "Hey, I'm gonna come kick your ass," and threw the mic down and went and was just like a machine and destroyed people, the fans would get behind that in a heartbeat. That's awesome. A tried and true formula, She was
a good promo in the UFC. Like she sold.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't need to be. She just
that was her not acting.
Exactly. She just needs to go out there and be herself and be the badass that she is. And I think that gives her more drawing power. I think it can create bigger stars within the company by doing it. And it focuses on what her strengths are. I think that would be the best way to do it.
Unscript her.
Just give her bullet points, go out there and be like, "Hey, I'm going to go break this bitch's arm."
That's how they
and
did
then have her
it in
go
the
out
90s.
there and tap someone out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you notice she was very comfortable when she worked with Kurt Angle and the Triple H and Stephanie match at WrestleMania 34. Like that was the best she ever was because she had those pros around her during that whole feud and segment. I don't know. Aaron, what do you think?
All of you guys made great points, and I think one thing she's really missing is a match that has received critical acclaim. Since she's come back, she really hasn't done a whole lot. The match at WrestleMania was okay, but was not a classic by any means, and it also wasn't the main event. She kind of played second fiddle to Steve Austin and Pat McAfee and Cody Rhodes. Hopefully for her, the match at WrestleMania Backlash, the I Quit match with Charlotte, will deliver something memorable. If they go out there and have a killer match and they tear the house down, I think that will definitely help Ronda and her act moving forward. It will give her some momentum, and I do think a mouthpiece would be a good idea, but only if she's a heel. If she's going to be the babyface flagship of SmackDown, I think she should be on her own for the time being. Just have her go out there and say very little. Goldberg got over without having to say anything. Sting would go out there and he was silent for over a year. Ronda does not need to be cutting long promos and being scripted and all that stuff. Just
that I'll agree with you and Robbie on. It's the fact that if she just went out there and didn't speak and just let her actions speak louder than her words, that'd be even better.
And Aaron, she can have great, look at the match at Survivor Series with her and Charlotte. If there's physicality involved, she then gets in her zone. And that match not a really good match at Survivor Series?
Yeah.
Charlotte and Ronda.
And she's not. And the other issue, she's not a sympathetic character. They want you to feel sympathy. I mean, I feel like that's why she lost at WrestleMania. They want you to feel bad, and you can get behind her, and she's going to win. That was a mistake. She's not a sympathetic character. We all know who she is, where she came from, and that she can actually whip ass. Why would we feel bad?
And it's too bad that she doesn't have a really strong heel to go against. Yeah, Charlotte is Charlotte, but somebody who could possibly kick Ronda Rousey's ass. Do we really believe Charlotte is that person? There's really nobody.
No. If they didn't screw Shayna up, it would have been her. Exactly. She was a legit MMA.
That's what I was thinking. If they had pushed Shayna this whole time that Ronda was out with her pregnancy, man, they'd have a hot main event for SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever. But they dropped the ball that, and she's really got nobody. Bayley will probably be back soon, but Bayley hasn't exactly been pushed at that level where she's seen as a serious threat against somebody like Ronda Rousey.
Bayley's also going to be cheered when she's come back. When she comes back, I know she's going to go heel and want to be booed, but who the hell's going to boo her after not seeing her on TV for almost a year?
Yeah, good point. We'll see.
She pretty much made the quarantine era. She was her and Sasha were just fantastic.
Yeah, she should be back at any time. Asuka should be back at any time, but still, it's up in the air where they will end up.
That's the other one. If you didn't screw up Asuka, that would have been a good one too.
Well, do the super chats, Aaron, and then we'll do our little AEW topic. I know people are looking forward to that.
Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, imagine cowgirl Ronda Rousey just like Cowboy Brock. Like she could be the farmer, do that whole thing. Maybe she would have better promos if she could go out there and just have fun and not be so focused on trying to be all serious.
She really does live on a farm, so hey.
Yeah. And Psycho Jet Black also sent in a $2 super chat with this comment. Besides Paul Heyman, who should be Ronda's manager? Well, we mentioned Malcolm Bivens. Anybody else that
you want her to be a heel
MVP,
or face?
If they didn't do this Omos thing, MVP would have been somebody good.
Yeah. There's not a lot of options, though.
If you want Ronda Rousey, if you want to instantly make her the biggest heel in the company, you need to pair her with Stephanie McMahon and let Stephanie cut the promos for her. And then let Ronda just beat the ever-living crap out of whoever she's facing and win clean. And then Stephanie just talk crap the whole time. Talk crap. And then you have the big payoff at some point where someone beats up Stephanie or hits her or slaps her on TV.
That's true.
Let's get to this AEW topic now.
Why is that? That was a quick transition.
Well, I'm ready for it.
Okay. Here comes the drop viewers.
Hepcano sent in a $2 super chat, says Ivory as Ronda's manager.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, I get it, Aaron, because you want to talk about the one thing that debut, right? So Here's the topic. AEW, big, I put in quotation, big announcements, and these debuts that just there's been so many of them. Like how many people have we had since CM Punk? Are they handled well or not by Tony Khan? I want everybody's honest opinion. I know we have some diehard AEW fans, we have some casuals, we have Robbie, we have some haters. Like if you want to call me the hater, but there's just too many big announcements or debuts and too often. And
I said it.
And the fans. Like last night, what's the guy's name? Singh, the 7'3" guy debuted.
Yeah, Sing. Yeah.
So maybe the lights out and then coming back on thing. But to me, when somebody debuts and the fans aren't liking it, that was a heel. I don't feel like now. Granted, you want a reaction though, so you want you want boos, you don't want crickets. But AEW does this way too often, and Aaron, I'm gonna actually start with you on this topic because you said something earlier and you tweeted it. You feel like me wanting to get behind things when the AEW fans don't. So in this instance, could this be a plus for Tony Khan? Because every other debut, every other big announcement has been so catered to diehard wrestling fans. I want there to be something in AEW that's not catered to them that maybe some casual fans could draw into. Now tell me more about what you were thinking when you saw this big dude debut in AEW, and you were kind of liking it when the fans were crapping all over.
Yeah, well,
I mean, seriously, be honest.
I think the mistake that was made was having the lights go out and have that guy be the surprise because people were thinking that maybe Cesaro would show up or it'd be some kind of guy that they would recognize. Instead, it was somebody they've never seen before, which is surprising because AEW did announce his signing several months back. It wasn't exactly a mystery that this guy was going to appear in AEW. Now, my thought process on it is that people are acting like it's a WWE style segment. And yeah, it kind of did feel like a WWE segment, but at the same time, they're trying to expand their business beyond that wrestling bubble. They're trying to get more of a worldwide presence. They're trying to get more viewers in India. And from a business standpoint, I get it. It makes sense. And I would be doing the same thing. I would be trying to bring in different people from different cultures, different countries, trying to build AEW so they can be a worldwide brand that can compete with WWE. And everybody's crapping on it without seeing what the guy can actually do in the ring. Maybe he'll be entertaining. Maybe it will work out nicely for him. People are just thinking, oh, it's a Great Khali knockoff, so it's gonna be lousy and that sort of thing. I think people got to give it a chance here and see what happens with this guy. I just think that anything that's just remotely different from what we see every single week on Dynamite, people crap on and give it a bad review because it's something that isn't what they're used to seeing and what they necessarily want to see. They want to see the same thing every week. and they want their indie matches with all the kickouts and the tope suicidas, and then all of a sudden this 7'3" guy comes in and everybody's pissed off. But I did not have a problem with it. I just think they should have had him come out to the ring in a different manner. I think it was a mistake to do the lights out gimmick.
Now, Aaron, other than CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, what have been memorable debuts? Now, I know Moxley, but I'm talking like during this influx of debuts in the past year.
Jeff Hardy coming out there and dancing when Matt Hardy was in trouble.
I honestly think the flames of CM Punk has already burnt out just because they keep signing so many people.
So many of them.
CM Punk was like yesterday's news already, and he hasn't even been there a whole year. Exactly.
Hey, Malachi Black coming out there, kicking Cody Rhodes in the face, I thought was a pretty good debut. The debuts are strong.
No.
But then they tend to get lost in the shuffle. Malachi Black is basically just doing vignettes.
Because there's so many of them. That's the problem.
Keith Lee had a good debut, but look, who cares about him right now?
I'll tell you one that was not that good, and that was Miro, but they did kind of fix things with him, although he got hurt and he lost his momentum, and we'll see if he can gain it back when he's recovered. Apparently, he's in a contract for several years, so they do have some.
That's the problem. If you sign too many people, you don't give the time for people to get behind any of it, and you never get people behind you because here comes the next guy, and you're like, oh, well, forget the guy before.
Yeah, and remember when Ruby Soho was going to change women's wrestling in AEW, and she hasn't been on TV in half a year?
Yeah.
I mean, and if they were drawing, if these frequent debuts and announcements, Dynamite was inching up like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million, I would be like, holy crap, you can't stop. You're on a locomotive. You got the momentum. It's clearly flatlined, so they got to think of something else or present the people they do bring in a more important way, and they're just not doing that.
They just don't have.
Tony Khan books matches. He just books matches. He doesn't write, right? Okay, whatever. You just book matches. You're making an indie wrestling show.
And here's the other thing: you ruined a great show. Dynamite was good. You screwed the main event up by putting that person up. First of all, the black light it's way overdone. And to me, because of my age and where I'm from, I associate that with Sting. Like every time you see the lights off, that's associated to Sting to me. Like leave that gimmick alone already. Sting did it in the 90s, and it's like nobody knew who that guy was. Everybody got quiet. They kind of like sat on their hand, and it's like you ruined the main event. Like you had such a good main event. You had Samoa Joe win the ROH TV title, and then you did that, and it's like you were up here, and then you just dropped it like an amusement park ride or something.
And somebody like
that. Bad timing. Yeah.
You almost have to have somebody hype him up like this guy's coming. Nobody knows who this guy is, but he's going to be a force. So then the fans start getting a little bit invested. Like if Jay Lethal was building this guy up, and then he shows up, well, Jay Lethal has a fan base that are going to get behind him and whatever he said. I mean,
just when is Jay Lethal heel? Like, is he heel all of a sudden?
He is heel, but guess what? He's getting TV time now, and for the longest time they were doing nothing with Jay Lethal. The guy's got a significant storyline now. So,
but for 5 or 6 weeks there, and they could have had him come out, grab a mic like a hot mic, and just said, "You guys are you don't put me on TV, you don't give me a match, I'll show you guys," and then have him do that, and then boom, last night happens with no lights going out, or even if lights went out because they would have built it. Oh my God, Tony Khan! It's simple. Now you have people behind Jay Lethal.
What you could have done for the last month is show people in the locker room just laid out. Bloody, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. Why is every week somebody getting beat up, getting bloody, and we don't know? Then you bring this guy out. You don't just randomly, and then you just sign Samoa Joe. We all love Samoa Joe. He's our way, and then you have him gets crushed by the stupid. And that's the other thing. You don't want the Great Khali comparisons. Don't have him crush somebody's skull. That was Khali's move. Don't do that.
All right. Well, thanks for speaking on it, Walter. Robbie Vice.
I didn't really have any reaction to it. I didn't recognize him. I didn't really know who he was.
What did you call him? You got to say what you called him on Twitter.
The not so great Khali. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, he's huge. Like compared to most of the roster, that guy is a legit almost twice as tall, I think, as the average competitor in AEW. So that's pretty sweet. But we got to see what happens with him. I mean, I don't know. They haven't really had like a giant character in AEW before. They've had big guys like Wardlow, and you have Cage and things like that, but there hasn't been a traditional giant. And let's see what he does. You know what? I'm gonna let it play out. Let's see how it goes. I may hate it, I may love it, or I just may be indifferent to it. But we're not gonna know for a couple weeks.
I will say he threw a clothesline at Joe, and I thought it didn't look too good. So we'll see. I mean, it's his first night in. The guy is on primetime television. We'll see if he can.
The guy's been playing basketball the last few. He was signed to the NBA.
Yeah,
on a G League. So
yeah, but apparently he's been training, and we'll see. But if it keeps falling flat over the next couple of weeks, this angle might have a pretty short shelf life, similar to the what was Brandy Rhodes' faction, the Nightmare
Factory
Collective,
whatever.
And a month down the line, you have the Sing Kiss Cam.
Yeah, you might. No, they'll just drop it. They'll take them off TV, and that'll be the end of it. But I hope Khan will give it a chance. Like, I feel like if the people crap on it next week, he'll just be like, well, got to listen to the fans. That's it. Instead of giving it a chance to succeed.
He doesn't care what the fans say. He'll just think they're all bots.
I mean, I'll give it a chance. It's just that Khali's on your mind. It's the comparisons are just there. That's the problem.
Jerry, what do you think? And Tony's got a big announcement coming up next week. He had to make sure everybody knew.
I think right now he's got enough to work with that he doesn't need to be making any more big announcements. Like, he's got enough people that aren't appearing on Dynamite or Rampage at this point. They're all just appearing on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation and whatever other show. I think it's going to be easier for him to divvy up the talent once the Ring of Honor relaunch actually does happen, and they actually get some sort of program going. So you actually have some of those competitors move over there and focus more on what we have here. But I think the problem with the debut last night was timing. Because, like, everybody was expecting this big announcement, and anytime he says a big announcement, it's usually somebody from WWE or some sort of like one of the release stars from there. But then we get this tall Indian guy that nobody really knows, and so by all means, it seems like it should have been like a mid-card debut. Like, they're not going to push this guy as a main event star, and even then, the TV title is pretty much a mid-card title. So for it to close out the Dynamite show after so much going on, it just dumbfounds me. Like, that got booked right at the end that way. Like, him busting into another match maybe, and I know Jay Lethal had said, like, Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt had said they had a surprise for Samoa Joe, which was great. But at the same time, they could have saved it for another week when he's maybe making a title defense somewhere in the middle of the show versus the main event, because that just completely nullified the win is what it did.
Exactly. You should have did it at the 9:30 slot.
Unless they'll have Joe fight him in a Punjabi prison match or whatever.
No, don't say
God,
that.
don't do that, please.
Oh, and
I miss no bamboo poles.
Maybe they will create some kind of new match. You never know.
Regarding the announcement, I feel like it might be that streaming service.
I was going to say that.
Something related to Ring of Honor. I don't think it's going to be the debut of a wrestler. I still think that Tony has enough sense to wait a little bit longer before bringing in another guy.
I think he made a deal with HBO Max or something.
I think the next big guy coming in will probably be Cesaro. But
that's what the fans. Yeah, I mean, the fans want that. Like, I mean, you have Bray Wyatt still lurking out there, but he's clearly not.
You don't know what
he's out of
Wyatt's
wrestling
do
right now.
Have you guys heard this theory?
CYN.
Have you heard this theory that Cesaro's already been there and he's the cameraman that keeps being in the hood? Have you guys heard this? If you look at AEW, there's like a cameraman in it, but why would that? That wouldn't even make sense.
No, I didn't hear about that. Robbie, Bray Wyatt. Or
Robbie actually brought up a good point.
No, Bray Wyatt could just join CYN. They're a huge upstart. Recognized by NoDQ, and Aaron actually had interactions with members of the CYN, and I think Bray Wyatt's next on the list.
They got a show coming to Cleveland. I think I have to go to check it out. I can
see Wyatt re-signing to the WWE because they've been mentioning him a lot lately.
Hey,
with the Undertaker,
Yeah, we never say never with that. But Report Card Radio says way too soon for a streaming service. Well, if HBO wants to work with AEW, then
Exactly.
they'll make it work. And they got the Ring of Honor tape library now. They got all in. They got all.
I will be shocked if HBO buys All Elite Wrestling. Or,
I don't know if they'll buy it, but
I meant like to put on their streaming.
Now,
if they're going to stream it, I'm
shocked.
definitely watching all the old ROH stuff.
Well, it's not that. Do you think they'll adopt that WWE model of like the WWE network at that price, but with HBO Max and have their premium live events instead of pay-per-views?
It depends on that deal.
I don't think they'll do that.
I don't know, because HBO is like you could do yearly. Mine's is yearly. I did the yearly one, so.
But we'll see.
Nonetheless, Aaron, any super chats before we move on to the main event?
Yeah, we do have a few here, so let's get to these. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Says, I hope Singh cuts a better promo than Ricochet. I don't think he's going to be cutting promos. I think Sanjay Dutt is going to be doing the talking for him.
Jay Lethal's going to do all the talking.
Probably the right thing. Jay Lethal too, but I think Sanjay is going to actually be his manager, and
I think Sanjay's going to be managing both of them, and that he's going to be the mouthpiece of the group.
That's what I'm thinking at this point. And Psycho Jet Black also sent in a $5 super chat saying this. He said, I hate to say it, but Ricochet is more over than Marina Shafir. The guy might be awful at promos, but at least he gets a reaction when he comes out. Well, yeah, that was not a good reaction for Marina Shafir, that's for sure. And once again, the AEW women's match in that 9:15, 9:30 time slot, as it is every week. They get their one match and then maybe one or two quick backstage segments, and that's about it.
Robbie had said a little bit ago, the fact that Ruby Soho didn't pretty much just dropped off the face of the earth is just crap.
Yeah.
At least it looks like or the other two, they look like they're gonna join Jade. What were the two that were like in the balcony when they were showing it?
Red Velvet.
Red Velvet, and yeah, because they look like they might join Jade now. So at least they're doing something.
Yeah, but it just feels like the women are an afterthought in AEW, and the WWE women's division has problems, but they at least give several of the women a pretty decent amount of TV time every week, and they have a pretty good presence on the show. But yeah, I mean, Thunder Rosa, the champ, is barely getting TV time. She gets on for a little backstage segment for 2 minutes, and that's that. But she is going to be on the Battle of the Belts this Saturday. She's getting something.
They go into WWE route with cakes in people's face already.
Wait till Dynamite goes to 3 hours, Aaron.
Never say
or
never.
Rampage goes to 2.
I thought their overrun was going to go longer as an experiment to see what kind of viewership it would get, but they only went like 2 minutes, so really made no sense. They should have gone like 20 or 30 and seen like, hey, what are these numbers like, and then consider maybe going longer. Although I'm not a fan of that. I don't think they should do that, but at this point they have so many people and only so much time to showcase them. All right. Got a super chat here, $10 from God First, Hate It or Love It, sent in this super chat. Says, Tony has Vince problems now, LOL. P.S. Why is Moxley not the AEW champion? The whole Shield is next level, is still running the business. Shout out to Dusty Rhodes. Why is Moxley not the AEW champion?
He went into rehab.
He wants to go to hardcore matches.
He had to drop it. He went into rehab, and yeah, it's all about hardcore now.
And he wants to wrestle that grandpa guy again.
Moxley might be a tag team champ pretty soon. They're not
him and
Bryan. Right? Yeah, what Bryan's into me.
All right, we're caught up now.
All right, main event time, and it's after WrestleMania. We are less than a year away from Hollywood WrestleMania, and the rumor is still Roman Reigns versus The Rock, and Roman has 2 titles now. He's the Universal Champion, well over 500 days, and The Rock is his cousin. It's not like it's just a superstar that happens to also be part Samoan. These guys are related. The bloodline is the angle. You tell me Vince McMahon, Dwayne Johnson and Roman Reigns have not been talking the past couple of years with some type of timestamp on this where Rock could become free. And on his show, Young Rock, they referenced that, and it could have been a comical thing, but I think if The Rock goes out of his way and the writers for this show to do that, to talk about Roman facing The Rock at WrestleMania, I think the seed was planted, and we saw the WWE Evil thing where WWE's cryptically, or not cryptically, but basically said it through Roman Reigns, and he kind of had a snicker. This match is going to happen, folks. There was plenty of time from when we first thought it would happen that The Rock was going to clear his schedule. If he has any new movie contracts, he's going to say, hey, I got this thing going on early 2023. This is kind of like a movie, but it's WWE. We can start filming after that. He's going to do it because it's blood. And this match is going to happen. And now we're getting more cryptics along the way. But guys, Walter, how do they, if this is going to happen, if I'm confident in what I'm saying and next year's WrestleMania will be headlined by that match, how should WWE start this process?
That's a good question. I would have maybe Roman be at one of his premieres from one of his movies and maybe ruin it. Have one of his big movies and he steals his spotlight and he's like, what are you doing? This is my time. And then start the rivalry there. But in terms of booking it, I would have Reigns go over. I mean, I know people are like, he's had a long reign with the title. Rock should not be beating Roman for the titles. One, he's part-time. Two, he's going to come back. And that means he would have to be back for months to defend that title, or at least a month to defend the title. So, I mean, right now, Reigns is conquering all his demons. He got over Brock. He got over all the fans. You know, so I think that's the last thing. He needs to get the torch passed by The Rock. And that's what's going to happen. Rock is going to look at the lights for his cousin. It's blood. He's going to do it. He's going to put his cousin over.
Now, again, Roman could lose the titles before then, and that could be the match for WrestleMania with no titles on the line.
Yep.
If they do keep the titles on the line, you definitely would have to think Roman has to keep it if they have that guy in place to be the next star that at SummerSlam or whatever after that, this is who Roman's going to put over. And you built Roman up that whole time, beats his cousin The Rock. You know, finally Roman is as over as you can get, at least in terms of the business. Then you can maybe make a new star. And that should give them plenty of time to find out who they want to put it on.
Plenty of time. Or you can use The Rock to get the face reaction you always wanted out of Roman Reigns.
If this happens, I think we're just going to get little cryptic teases like this from Roman Reigns, from Rock. Maybe some stuff like if Rock does a show, The Tonight Show. I don't think we'll really fully get anything till January 2023, right around Royal Rumble season, into WrestleMania season. That's when it will happen. If Royal Rumble's come and gone and there's still nothing official, I'm going to say, this might not happen. Jerry Slaughter, what do you think?
It's going to be a slow burn. Like, I think they should throw little Easter eggs and little hints here and there. Like that, you know, The Rock versus Roman Reigns is going to happen. Like maybe have somebody make an offshoot comment about The Rock to Roman Reigns, and he just, you know, responds that he's way better than The Rock ever was, that The Rock never had a reign like his or anything like that. But, you know, but then it kind of tapers off and nobody thinks about it again. But then sure enough, something else tips him off that the whole Rock versus Roman Reigns thing could happen. This could be Roman Reigns' like masterpiece, this whole feud. And what I akin it to is pretty much my favorite feud of all time, pretty much Chris Jericho versus Dean Malenko. Chris Jericho is able to hold like a hot feud with somebody that wasn't even on TV for 3 months. And I think with the help of Paul Heyman and the right writers and just him, you know, certain aspects, little hints peppered throughout from probably starting at Survivor Series, even just something very light that like kind of, you know, gives us hope that there's going to be that match at WrestleMania. And by Royal Rumble, that gets solidified that the match is going to happen.
And you can satellite The Rock in at any time. I'm sure he'd be willing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he'd easily just pop in like on the screen during one of Roman Reigns' promos and just annihilate him.
And look, I know Roman gets criticized for some of his WrestleMania matches, match lengths, quality. The Edge and Daniel Bryan one last year was pretty good, but like the Brock one underwhelmed to a lot of fans or whatnot. Believe it or not, sometimes WWE does that on purpose because if they have that match with Rock and Roman set for next year, they want that to be his best one of all time because of the money invested. Now they'll let those guys go 20 plus minutes and do everything like Hogan and Rock did. They plan that sometimes, WWE, believe it or not. But anyway, Walter Cruz, what do you think?
Oh, I went already. Maybe
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was the
He's
first
the first one to smoke.
You're the first one.
But now that I think about it, I thought about it.
Wait.
Maybe they can make another movie together, and then Roman can just claim he outshined Rock in the movies, that he does everything.
It has to be a bigger,
and then the Rock
bigger
can come
role
out
than just a fighting scene.
Yeah.
But all right, Robbie. Sorry, I was just making Robbie wait, and he has
right. So Roman. So I've been thinking about this actually, and it makes sense to me. Roman and Rock is definitely going to happen this year for WrestleMania, but the titles won't be involved. Okay. I think it's going to get to a point where I think Cody's going to beat Roman, and I think he's going to do it with assistance from The Rock. I think Roman's going to be out there being shitty. I think the Usos will come out and do some kind of interference, and then Roman's going to come down when the referee's down and rock bottom Roman, let him lose the title, say it's to humble him, and then you'll have just a completely unhinged, mad Roman Reigns that's going to go and fight The Rock at WrestleMania. They don't need the titles for that match. And then you've given Cody his moment. You have him doing something at WrestleMania. Then you have The Rock and Roman, and it's not just for titles. It's blood and it's heated. And I think that could create a better story than just even having
that's
titles
way
involved.
better than any title match could ever be. Yes.
Yeah, you definitely don't need the titles for this.
I mean, you got the head of the family. That's what's at stake.
Right?
Yeah, that's what's at stake. I mean, that's why I think we
anticipate be dynasty.
Yeah, see, we're such smart fans that we anticipate this just based on the storyline Roman was put in, being called the Bloodline, and knowing they're related. And The Rock's still in really great shape. It's like, and you just saw what Austin did at WrestleMania, and The Rock can do a whole lot more, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It's just there. It's on a silver platter. They would be foolish not to execute on this. Aaron, what do you think?
Well, Robbie made a great point there. I could definitely see that being the scenario where Cody wins the WWE Universal title, unified Universal title, whatever we're calling it, with the help of The Rock, maybe SummerSlam, Survivor Series, somewhere around there. I think we're going to know by November-ish at the latest if Rock is doing WrestleMania, because he's going to have to train. He's going to have to clear up his schedule and all that stuff. So we should know. We should start seeing build. I don't think it's going to be something where they start building up for it 2 months before. Rock is going to need way more time than that. We'll know later this year if The Rock is doing WrestleMania. I think he is. I do think that young Rock clip was intentionally done to plant the seed. Vince McMahon wants to deliver on teases and hype, and I don't think Vince would sign off on that if it wasn't something that The Rock was not going to commit to. I think that the fact that was shot and aired, that tells me that The Rock, Vince, they've talked it out, and Rock is going to do everything in his power to be there and clear up his schedule, and he'll make it happen. The Rock is a big deal. He can pull some strings and make sure he's available for that match with plenty of advance notice. So yes, I do think it's going to happen next year in Hollywood, and I think it's better without the title. I think it's more unpredictable without the title. I still think Roman Reigns should and probably will win, but I think if the title's not on the line, it might create a little bit more doubt. If the title's on the line, I really don't think The Rock's going to win the title, because I don't see him sticking around past one match.
Exactly. My son just had a good idea. He said you have Reigns lose the title to Cody. You do a confidence thing where he doesn't have confidence. Then he thinks of a way to do it. The bloodlines mean so much to it. He goes out and calls out The Rock. He's like this, and that's how he becomes dominant again. The bloodline becomes more important to him, and he calls out The Rock. So you don't need the title involved at all.
But with this character, Walter, I can't see that. Roman's going to always be extremely confident, I think, until he finally falters. Then he might take that time off, and then that's when they could say, hey, are you going to come back as that baby face?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think he's cocky. He's cocky until the end.
If you get a pissed off Reigns, that'll be crazy.
I like Robbie's idea about The Rock actually more or less costing Roman Reigns the belt to go ahead and get things kicked into gear. But I don't think he even has to be there. His music could just start up, and Reigns gets distracted just that long enough that that he drops the belt to Cody.
Right.
All it takes is 3 seconds, and that's all that would happen right there. And it would just completely be a huge momentum shift for Rhodes, for one. That propel him where he wants to be at, and give Reigns a chance to finally go against The Rock, which is what pretty much everybody wants at this point.
Right.
To respond to Mr. Tito, who would they attack that The Rock would want to save? Why would he want to save anybody from them?
Because he's sick of his family doing all these bad things and giving him a bad name and shining light and dishonoring his family.
Yeah.
Like, you're the bloodline.
I was about to say he's just
Hollywood.
like his father, his grandfather, everybody.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Yep.
Woo!
and again, I pinpoint the fact that when The Rock held Roman's hand up in Philadelphia after the Royal Rumble and that bad reaction happened and The Rock had that look on his face, that moment in time, he's thinking, I don't know when, but I'm gonna get this guy over. I'm gonna be part of something that people will forget about this.
He took it as a self-challenge.
And the table is set.
Mhm.
Literally.
He
All
took
right.
it as a challenge. Yeah, you're right.
There's your WrestleMania
Talk about
catch
it,
slogan right there. The table is set.
I like
Super
it.
chats, Aaron?
Yeah, Hab Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Says they can always give us Roman and Cena again and build it up as the biggest match of all time and a match we never saw before, even though we saw it twice already. Yeah, they might. We're
Twice in a lifetime.
That'd be Saudi Arabia if Cena goes over there.
Yeah, they might run that match again. Anything's possible at this point. But yeah, Rock versus Roman Reigns. We've been talking about it. Hollywood makes sense. That's
I will be so disappointed if going into next year's WrestleMania that's not the case. I will be like, I might jump shark to AEW.
I mean, really, that's the only thing they can do is John Cena.
I'm just kidding. Like, oh,
The only way that's not going to happen is if he can't clear his schedule.
I know.
Yeah.
If he can't quit or he gets
so much
hurt or
time.
something.
But
He's the
like,
biggest movie star in the world right now. He makes his own damn
That's
schedule.
what I'm saying. He can
Exactly.
pull the strings needed to make that match happen. I just think he's got to say, hey, look, you know what? I'm doing this next year. My schedule is going to be cleared up. I'm doing the one match, and then that'll be it. One
It has
time.
to happen because who else is there? You didn't build anyone. I mean, you're starting to build Cody now, but you didn't
With
build
John
anyone
Cena,
to become that person.
They could do John Cena and say John Cena and Roman Reigns have never wrestled at WrestleMania before, so this is why we got to do it, and it's the biggest match ever because it's at WrestleMania.
Please don't put that in the
Okay.
atmosphere. Please
Anyway.
don't put that out.
Why
Why would you will this into existence?
Right?
All right. So Building Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says Roman beats Rock and Roman immediately turns face after the match. Can he even turn face? What do you guys think about that?
No.
Only if Rock hugs him or something, puts him over. But why
if
would you
Rock
want to go
beat
face?
Roman at that WrestleMania? If that happens, Roman's going to take the summer off. He'll be back. Then he comes back as a babyface after a few months.
He
That's-
needs a
Are
really
we talking
good heel.
about like when Rock and Hogan
He does need a
hugged
good
at the
heel.
end of that match, and then afterwards Hogan became All American again? Is that kind of like face turn that we're actually thinking about at this point?
I mean, I think if Roman Reigns had a strong enough heel, he could pull it off.
MJF. Oh wait, 2024 as soon as we
Ooh,
get that.
that'd be a good one. Maybe you're onto something. Everybody save a clip of what Virtue just said. Let's see what happens.
But the soonest we could get that's 2024, right?
Right.
MJF first feud would be right to the Miz just because of that comparison.
Anyway,
Yeah.
any other
Right.
super chats so we can go home?
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "What about John Cena versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania?" I like it.
Jonathan versus Bronathan.
Yes, it reversed ruthless aggression, where it's Braun Breaker getting in John Cena's face and saying ruthless aggression.
There you
And
go.
so on and
Full
so
circle.
Yeah, I like it. Full circle. And on that note, we're caught up, guys.
Well, we know what we're going to do right here is see if we can go home. We're going to go around and do our plugs. So, Walter Cruz, I'll
I
start with
actually
you. Welcome back.
I gotta jet out of here, guys. I'm about
Robbie,
7
yeah,
over.
Everybody knows at Robbie, at the
Right.
Robbie Vice, right?
It doesn't matter. I'm not important. Don't
Okay.
follow me. It doesn't. It's fine.
No,
All right.
follow
Peter
Robbie
saying-
Vice. He is the
Just the
man.
person that has like
You
20,000
listen to Big
followers on
G.
TikTok. He has like 20K followers on TikTok, and he's like, I'm not important.
I don't have a TikTok. What are you
It's
talking
Big
about?
G. Big G does.
That's big.
Everybody follow Robbie Vice. Robbie.
See you, Robbie.
See you later.
I don't even. First of all, I'm 37 years old. I don't even know what the hell TikTok is. So. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a TikTok, so don't follow me on anything. I'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
See you
Bye,
guys.
Robbie.
Thank you.
Hey, Walter, to do your plugs.
All right. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me at Walter Alex Cruz. I'm also on Instagram at Calfire Farms, which is CALFYR Farms. If you're into cannabis, and that's all I got.
Good to have you on, and you're part of the NoDQ review panel now, part of the chat. So glad you came over. All right, Jerry Slaughter.
Glad to be here.
Big G over there.
Yeah. Hey, Gunther, Big G.
There he is.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Gerald_JSJ and my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR exclamation point. We just cleared a staggering 100 members. So we're actually building our community a little bit more. It's nice. It's no real, shade being thrown at any of the companies, just a bunch of wrestling love, and that's always great. Otherwise, yeah, always great to be on the show.
Good having you on, man. And of course, over to Aaron. It looks like we can get out of here.
Well, we do have one super chat here from God First, Hate It or Love It, sent in a $5 super chat. Says, Rick, and also promote the XFL that will be launching.
Oh, The Rock can.
To advertise.
The Rock can also promote the XFL that'll be launching. Perfect time for advertising.
The stars align usually.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't there already
have a movie to promote, that is what he needs to promote is the XFL.
Isn't there already controversy about how the X looks in the XFL or something? That is similar to some other logo or something.
I almost forgot the XFL was relaunching.
Yeah, he owns it, so that's it would make sense.
And let's be honest, the last relaunch, I mean, we don't know how long it would have lasted, but the pandemic crushed it.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm
That's
not sure
true.
we talked about this, but I feel like it could be a retirement match where The Rock puts his career on the line against Roman Reigns, and that'll be his.
I think he's already done retired, just hasn't said it out loud.
And then he's in the Hall of Fame next year.
Then because he's the only person. I'm really shocked he's not in the Hall of Fame, but he said he doesn't want to do it until he's 100% done in the ring.
Right. So I can see him doing WrestleMania this year, and then going into the Hall of Fame the next year.
40. Yep. And we're caught up. So yeah, NoDQ.com. Stay updated with all the latest wrestling news and rumors. Thank you all as usual for tuning in. We appreciate your viewership and support and sending in your comments, participating in the chat. Thank you guys. Thanks to the panel for being on. You guys have been great as usual. And now we can wrap it up.
Another great review, number 183. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_virtue. Go to NoDQ.com/merch and get great shirts like that. And I think I have the Troll Slayer shirt and the Debate King shirt over there as well.
Yeah, and there's also a bot shirt over there.
Did you finally?
The NoDQ.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I got to get that.
NoDQ.com.
I got to give my shout out to Colin the Cleaver Andrew too. He must have been working tonight, but make sure you go check his stuff out. Colin the Cleaver Andrew. So for Robbie Weiss, for Walter Cruz, for Jerry Slaughter, and Aaron Riff, I am Virtue. Thanks for watching, and we will be back again next week.